Okay, I'm back. So, with 2 quests down, we still have 4 more to go. Let's go ahead and speak with the Blasphemy Hunter again to take on the level 87 Healer's Job quest entitled A New Battleground. The quest to protect vulnerable Alamegans leads to Ul'dah. Here to see Commander Alden, I take it? This way, please. Away she goes. And there he is with Heavensward. Our request for an audience with the Sultana has been accepted. You were her protector for so long, I'm not surprised that she would prioritize you. Before we depart, I'll share what we've learned since we last spoke. The blasphemy continues to elude us, all the while driving others to succumb to despair in turn. Even with Alamegan and Ul'dah forces searching for signs of the beast and more potential victims, we've yet to discern a pattern in the chaos. Nevertheless, if our blasphemy is like others, its behavior is likely dictated by the passions and regrets of the man it once was. Therefore, any information concerning him and the life he led may help us to track it down before it strikes again. Which brings us to Heavensward. We don't want people to shun the families of the Skulls any more than they already are, but the fact remains that the vast majority of the beasts have been born from them. They're the ones at greatest risk of turning without question. Fordola concerns me too. She came close to chancing me once before, so I think it might be best if we keep her out of this after all. Unless she decides to drag herself there of her own will. She deserves a chance to make amends. Well, yeah, kind of a catch-22 here with the choices. Yeah, it seems like a waste of a capable soldier. I mean, she did save that little girl. I am inclined to agree with Rika. She was able to resist the transformation and has shown no signs of succumbing since then. If she wants to do her part, I say we let her. Let's just hope that her mere presence doesn't scare off more people and turn them. If only I could go in his stead. Yeah, Actually, I was hoping you'd come with us to meet the Sultana. I believe she would benefit greatly from your understanding of the struggles our people face. You'd gain from the experience too. While she's not the sort to brandish a sword and charge into battle, you'll soon discover she's a champion of her own arena, as brave as any warrior. Yeah, you can do it, man. I doubt she'd have much to learn from the likes of me, but it would be an honor to make her acquaintance. Our Lord and I will go on ahead and wait for you in the hosting strip. We'll see you anon. Alright. So, let's go and rendezvous there. Oh, and even Papashan is here. Long time no see. Master Papashan was just telling us that Nanamo, or should I say Lady Lalira, has gone on another of her jaunts about the city. Doing her thing again. Though it is not my place to question her Grace's judgment, I do wish she had consulted me before running off on her own. And perhaps I'm overthinking it, but it's unlike her to keep guests waiting. If I may say so, sir, with blasphemies appearing throughout the land, it's a dangerous time to be going for a stroll. Maybe. Or she could be the extra set of eyes we were looking for. Hey there, Baba, it's been a while. Welcome to the stream, glad to have you with us. I suspect that may be the very reason. She wishes to see for herself how the citizenry fare in these trying times. Even so, it's downright reckless. We'll find her, though. And so... No! I couldn't possibly allow such esteemed guests to... Come now, we may be here on official business, but we're all friends. And as you may remember, I have a knack for tracking down errant sultanas. Some might say that knock is rather charitable. I should be glad of the assistance. I'll take a look around here. Quizzing the locals gave me an opportunity to learn the recent goings-on in Ul'dah too. Well then, there's no time like the present. Fear not, with me on the case, this will be over before you know it. Alright. Going all the way down to the far end before you exit the city, I see. General. It has been some time since I last combed these streets for young Lilira. As a matter of fact, Papashon and I would compete to see which of us could find her first. As I recall, most of the contests ended in my favor. Well, it's because you could run faster and could cover ground a lot more easily. The trick, you see, is to look past the disguise and pay attention to the gestures and mannerisms. The tiniest movement that might give her away. Come, I'll show you how it's done. Okay. Oh, so now we gotta follow the general. Alright. Speak to Reborn and follow his lead as we just casually stroll through the Sapphire Avenue Exchange on this late afternoon. She's fond of perusing the stalls here. Yeah, seeing if anyone's ripping someone off. Alert the authorities, what have you. Get the Sultan sworn in on it. As Fiera showing off her skills. Yeah, probably trying to stand out amongst the Mikote harems over in the Steppes of Null. If she's not here, where could she be? What if she's been abducted? Oh, perish the thought there, Raban. But lead on. One of these pots? Perhaps not. Pots? Well, yeah, his usual strats don't seem to be working. We're gonna have to cross over. I've never known her to be this elusive. We need to take a left. That's odd. Well, I was about to say, what's also odd is this person who's standing with the Reaper's Scythe the way they were, but then I realized what they were wearing. Yeah, special mask. I tried all of her usual haunts, so unless she's hiding inside a barrel or something equally nonsensical, she must be somewhere. Gods, why did she choose now of all times to run off? What if she'd been abducted or run afoul of a beast? Yeah, perhaps we could try asking around. Or would that just blow her cover? Aye, I was just about to suggest the same. We'd find her a lot quicker if we start by narrowing down who we're going to ask. Come to think of it, something Papashon said caught my ear. He thought Nanama went on this excursion because of the emergence of the Blossoming of the Beast, to better understand how people are coping with the situation. If so, she'd be driven to seek out the most desperate and destitute. Pearl Lane, then. Yeah, to the Alamegan refugees who are still languishing, right? Might I ask you to lead the way? I'll admit my ability to track missing persons may have dulled somewhat. So it makes you think I'll be more successful than you there, Raban. Pearl Lane has ever been plagued by pickpockets and the like. I'll watch your backs, so go ahead and give the search for Lilira your full attention. Alright. I looked barely anywhere and I found nothing. Could have easily also used the line from The Simpsons where Ned willingly goes into an insane asylum. We've tried nothing, we're all out of ideas. Yeah. Landebert, the ever-reliable man of Alamigo who pretty much hates everyone here. It wouldn't surprise me if someone like him might be someone we have to engage with eventually. And who are you two? Ask about Pearl Lane there, General. While it may not be immediately obvious, conditions have improved considerably of late. Her Grace continues to support the rebuilding efforts in Girabonia, which has led to the creation of jobs to many of the locals, both here and on the other side of Belsor's wall. I have no idea there, Bubba. That is a curious question, though, I have to say. And then, ask about the poor. In every society there are the haves and the have-nots, and seldom is this divide more sorely felt than here in Uldar. Many of the young and able-bodied work for Lolorito as guards, though he earns more in an afternoon than most will in a lifetime. So we'll continue on further. Go out in front of the Weavers Guild. So yeah, we reached our ultimate destination. We're still searching. Let's have a look around. Ah, there she is! Lady Lilira!
Reborn? Whatever are you doing here?
Hi there, Your Grace.
And Rika too! Why, I'm glad to see you both. Our meeting is not yet due to commence for several bells. What is the meaning of this?
We were worried, and with good reason. These are far too dangerous times to be roaming about alone, Your Grace.
Some things never change, but I assure you, I am quite capable of looking after myself, in my own city of all places.
Even with a smile on her face.
More importantly, I wish to observe firsthand how the people of Benfang of late, that I might be better prepared to participate in our discussion later. But I have finished, you'll be comforted to hear.
Then pray allow us to escort you to more amenable surroundings. Would you care to ride on my shoulder? Just like the good old days?
Certainly not, you have already attracted more than enough attention.
Awkward smile. Come on, the only other person here is a member of the Sultan Sworn. 2 of them, in fact. But hey, whatever floats your boat, so... I imagine we gotta go over to... back to the Chamber of Rule. Yep. Onward. Chasing after this Vieira. Hard to distinguish if this is a guy or a girl. But in any event... Touche there, Bubba. So as we're having our conversation, now having changed back into her Sultana's attire, here she comes walking on over.
I thank you all for making the journey here during these difficult times. And it is my pleasure to properly make your acquaintance. On behalf of the people of Eorzea, allow me to express my sincerest gratitude for your continued dedication to our cause.
With your respect, Your Grace, I'm just a soldier. Was a soldier.
Still, I say, Commander Aldin would not make such a distinction, and neither will I. You yet serve your people, and have provided solace to many of our amigos most vulnerable. If we are to deal with this threat, we must forearm ourselves with knowledge. I understand that you come bearing information regarding the blasphemy and its victims?
We have indeed. And so, let's talk about it. And what we've experienced to this point.
Hence the need to locate families of Crony and Lupi members who have fled to Thanalan. There is no end to the struggles faced by Alamegan refugees, and those who once pledged allegiance to the Empire are no exception. But rest assured that irrespective of their past, all will be treated with an even hand. All will be afforded such aid as I am able to provide.
Yeah, you look so shocked there, Aaronvald. Magnanimous as always, Your Grace. If I might be so bold, I have a question. What do you have in mind for those most at risk of undergoing the change? That's a good question. Maybe the alchemist knows something?
I believe there's but one recourse.
And what's that?
Earnest and open dialogue. While some are born into unimaginable wealth, others suffer great hardship and oppression. The circumstances of our birth are beyond our control. Our fate subject to the whims of the gods, some would argue. I once thought myself a prisoner to my fate, a figurehead helpless to watch on as my people starved, a powerless puppet. I wanted nothing more than to cast it all aside, to free us all, but failed from my naivety, and then was afforded a second chance for my privilege. The world is unfair, terribly so, but we have the power to push back against inequalities and injustices, if not overcome them on blessed occasions. To love our neighbor and share in life's bounties. To open our hearts and come together as one.
Truer words were never spoken. Definitely proving yourself as a pragmatist, that's for sure.
But without the support of the people, such words are not but vain platitudes. Thankfully, my recent attempts to make inroads with the Montuous have met with some success. Despite differing views on many subjects, we yet strive to find common ground. common ground. We've been pouring all of our efforts into aiding the families of the Cranialupi, and while it seemed to help to a degree, some have still succumbed and turned. Of course, they're not the only ones in danger. Alamegans everywhere, whether they started with the Empire, fought the Resistance, or were caught in the middle, they all suffered. They all wake up in the night at times, haunted by memories of death and despair. As we got the Stormblood theme playing in the background, we know what can happen if those feelings are left to fester. The legacy of the Imperial occupation will not soon be forgotten, but rather than to seek to forget, mayhap it is necessary to remember, to acknowledge and accept the truth of it, that they may properly mourn those they have lost. A remembrance. Yeah, we're going back to way back when in a realm reborn. Are Alphanode and Alice gonna show up and give their own thoughts on what's happening, and Alice is gonna act like a little bitch again? I propose we hold a memorial ceremony for those who died during the war. Everyone, no matter who they were or what they did. Let them be loved, let them be hated, but above them all, let them be remembered. And in the remembering of the dead, in their honor and their sin, we the living of Ala Mhigo may yet find a sliver of common ground. It's a noble sentiment, but bringing together people of reason to distrust one another and risk inflaming tensions could be a recipe for disaster. Then again, we can't keep ignoring the merit in the room and do nothing to address the situation. As long as we leave it to the individuals to decide whether or not to attend the ceremony, I think it's worth a try. Organizing an event of this scale will require a great deal of effort, so I offer my full support. Once you know what's needed, come to me and we'll put the plan into action. Obviously, some will balk at the idea, which is perfectly understandable, so I'll be listening to their opinions as well. After all, we want it to be a ceremony that brings all Alamegans together. And I was wondering, Your Grace, if I might ask about your approach to, well, talking to people, winning them over. As you can tell, I'm no politician, so I'd be grateful for any advice you can share with me.
Well, she's not exactly a politician per se.
Why, I'd be delighted to. As a matter of fact, I have a number of matters I wish to discuss with you.
And on that note, I suggest you and I return to Ala Mhigo. Yeah, let these two get to know each other a little better. I'm down with this idea. So yeah, Ernvald, we'll catch up with you later on. But for now, we'll go ahead and eventually find the teleporter and... Yeah, so someone pulled out the... Oh no, that actually is the Sultana. I was like, oh, someone brought out the Sultana minion. No, that's actually her. No, that's actually her. Alright, back to the Alamegan quarter. Let's go ahead and see what we're getting ourselves into. General. I knew Ernvald would make a good impression, but he's outdone himself. Not only has he found a new avenue in life to explore, he has taken to it with considerable aplomb. And while his proposed memorial ceremony is bound to have its detractors, I have faith that many will come around. Not all, but enough, I pray. For our part, we must stand at the ready for whatever may occur. I shall send word if there are any developments. Well, it won't take long to get to that point, but for now we'll take our experience at 1,000 gil. And we'll see you in about 30 seconds. Alright, let's go ahead and speak with the Blasphemy Hunter again for our next level 88 healer job quest entitled Laying the Past to Rest. Ernvald wishes to put your considerable reputation to good use, even though he's not currently here.
There you are, Rika. Commander Aldin has asked me to convey to you the following information. At present, we are looking into reports of missing relatives of the Cranialupi. With the cooperation of the Silver Griffins, we're currently searching for any clues as to their whereabouts. Thanks to the concerned efforts of Ragnfrid and the others, the general public has been willing to cooperate with the investigation. Though many still harbor feelings of distrust for the collaborators and their kin, they've grown more receptive to our cause on the whole. Arval's been making steady progress in preparing for the memorial ceremony. He plans to host a meeting between the various community leaders to go over the finer details. In fact, he was wondering whether you could assist in delivering the invitations. If you can spare the time, you should be able to find him in the Mercantile Districts. Anyway, that's all for now. I have a few other matters to attend to, so if you excuse me, duty calls.
Alright then. I'll let you head off and we'll have at it. Let's go find Arvon and let's go find other people. Looks like I also have someone who's doing the same quest line with me as we speak. Let's head on down to where Arvon is. Good to see you back.
Thanks for coming. It should come as no surprise. The planning a memorial ceremony for a whole bloody nation will keep a man busy, but by roll call, this is something else. The hardest part's been gathering information on those who died in the war, especially when it comes to the skulls and other conscripts, and they're the ones we need to treat most carefully. Yeah, I imagine that only the Guardians would have held that information, and probably kept it all in Garlemald. If we don't acknowledge the crimes of our kin in all their painful truth, then we do a disservice to the victims living and dead. But if we let people paint them as monsters who did monstrous things, things we believe would never do, then we perpetuate a different but no less dangerous lie. As for preparing the event itself, I'll be holding a meeting with members from each of the settlements around Gearbonia. I've sent invitations to most of them already, but I was hoping you'd help me with the last two. There's Miraz Noon in the Peering Stones, and Sarisha in Viranelia. I'll give you one each for each. Yeah, having a hard time getting the words out. Alright. To be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if they refused, considering how people suffered at the hands of the Skulls. But I hope we can remind them that deep down, we're all just people trying to survive, to protect our loved ones. We may have driven the Empire from our lands, but as long as we hold fast to the grudges born of their attempts to divide and set us against one another, we'll never be free of their legacy of cruelty. With that in mind, I've included an account of my experiences with the Silver Griffins and the people I've met. Victims, collaborators, their friends and their family, men and women who lived through it all. Survivors. Even if they refuse to join the ceremony, at least they'll know, and hopefully understand, our reasons for holding the event. Granted, I have not had much practice in writing important letters, but I think they'll get the message. You being the one to deliver them will make a world of difference, I'm sure. Take care, won't you?
Alright, so yeah, let's go ahead and head off back to the Fringes. Starting over at the Peering Stones and heading over to Minago's crew. Alright, yeah, speak with Miraz. It's been a while since we've spoken with you, big guy. And heck, I'm almost as tall as you are. If we get the side-by-side, it's pretty close. Greetings, friend. It has been too long since last we spoke. What brings you to my village? I need to give you something, sir. So have a look and tell me what you think. So, the rumor's all true. I need not read this letter in full to know its contents. I understand that Ragnfrid's volunteers are working to support the families of those lost in the war, which few will deny is a worthy cause. But to include the relatives of the Cronia Lupi? I'm sure you've lost more than a few of your own to their ranks. The Skulls watch the Empire slay us in the thousands, and still they turn their cloaks and fall for our oppressors. And you would ask us to mourn the deaths of these curs alongside their victims? Yeah. I ask only that you read the rest of the letter, or you have every right to be angry and refuse. Our involved wishes only that you read his account before coming to a decision. Yeah, read it in full. You trust me, don't you? To dismiss it out of hand would be discourteous. Very well. So as he reads the entirety of the letter, what's on your mind? Family. Osnoon, my tribe is my family, and I know all too well the responsibility that brings. I would do anything to protect them. Anything. Loyalty, pride, conscience, my very soul. All are meaningless if I cannot ensure the safety of those I love. I suspected some schools had been faced with a self-same choice but to see how the kin suffered. I cannot say that I do not understand, though I wish that I did not. Their crimes will never be forgiven, they cannot be. But I and any others who are willing can offer our prayers for these tortured souls and the men they could have been. As take a look over at your Keeper of the Moon wife. I accept the invitation, not on behalf of the M tribe, but as Moral's Noon, though I will put the question to my people that they may decide for themselves. I am also eager to make the acquaintance of the person who wrote this letter. He is not wont to turn a blind eye to the bitter truth, painful though it is to confront. The meeting will be the perfect opportunity to take his measure. And we can't wait to have you with us. So I will see you later. Now let's go and hook up with the Ananta. Yeah, for those of you who are wondering, I have maxed out on the Beast Tribe quest with the Ananta, so I'm expecting different dialogue to what would have been expected otherwise. As we reunite with Savisha of the Vera.
Welcome. To what do we owe the pleasure of your visits?
This that we'd like to give to you. Yeah, you certainly helped out with the resistance, there's no doubt about that.
Then it is as I suspected. There had been rumors that such a ceremony would take place. Although you have traveled far to make this invitation, I must decline. We cannot mourn the loss of the fallen if the Crani and Lupi are to be counted among them. Like the Kalyana, they chose to aid the Gallian oppressors, killing and bleeding for those who would pillage our lands. Cowards and traitors all. And are we to assume that Kalyana, who died fighting for the Empire, will be honored as well? If so, that is all the more reason for us to refuse.
Yeah, that is your right, and no one will see it otherwise. I only come to present a letter and ask that you read it in full. Erenvalder understands and accepts that you might refuse, but it's only a request that you read his account and then decide. Yeah, we'll just leave it to option 1. Like, do I really have to?
If you insist.
Yes, I insist. And so, sometime later. Nothing to say?
No one was spared suffering in the occupation. Not the resistance, not the collaborators, not the families of both. No one. That so many would die in shame and ignominy, having sold their souls only to lose everything, is a tragedy and a lesson. If they are forgotten, then the lesson of their folly is forgotten. For the sake of this land we call home, I will join you in remembrance, and implore my people to do the same. In mourning may we strengthen our ties with our neighbors as well. By together facing our past, we can build a foundation for lasting peace and prosperity. It would be my honor to attend the proposed meeting, and I look forward to personally thanking your friend Erenvald for his dedication. I and my peers have much to learn from the example he has set.
Well, that's quite a big thing for you to say there. And it takes a big woman like you to say something like that. Yeah, figuratively and literally. Don't need to go that far to find Erenvald. So, how did you fare in the fringes? It took a little effort, but I coerced them. They said that about me! It's rare for me to get such glowing praise, especially from renowned leaders like Savisha and Moral's Noon. More importantly though, that they agreed to attend the meeting, and I've got you to thank for that. After all, I imagine it's hard to turn down an invitation when it's hand-delivered by the Warrior of Light herself. Before I get ahead of myself though, I must remember that this is only the beginning. Bringing everyone together is one thing,
coming to an agreement of an extremely divisive issue is a different kind of kettle of fish entirely, as Her Grace is quick to point out. But as she's taught me, if our cause is just and our hearts are true, those of like mind will surely answer the call. And answered they have. While there are bound to be differences of opinion, I'm sure there's nothing we can't overcome if we put our minds to it. To that end, I was hoping you could join us if you've the time to spare. There are still a few loose ends Ragenfried and I need to tie up beforehand, so we'll meet you in the palace as soon as we can. Just having you there will make a world of difference. Alright. Also, Ragenfried is here too? I was like, he probably showed up while we were doing our thing. Yeah, we'll speak with the guard here and we'll get the ball rolling. Here for the meeting, yes? Yes. So, just like with in Ishgard, we're gonna have a clashing of ideologies as very different people come together for the same reason. Yeah, the last time we were all here, we were under attack by Sri Lakshmi. So while we all agree on the importance of the ceremony, we recognize that the inclusion of the Crony Lupi will be distressing for many. I too lost my family at my hands, and I would never ask others to forgive and forget. But for all their crimes, they were all Amigans just like us. None made the decision to side with Golemon lightly. They had a choice and they chose to betray us! Are you gonna be the one who turns on us? Who among us have not made difficult choices for kith and kin? And do not forget that Fordola chose to stand between us and a primal. What does that have to do with it? A lot. Yeah, so as they continue to try and hammer it amongst themselves. Brothers and sisters, arguing will avail us not. Yeah, eyes over here, please. The fate of All Amigo rests on my shoulders and yours, are those of every man, woman, and child that call these lands home. To uphold our honor, to strive for prosperity, to protect our loved ones, we all know the weight of these responsibilities. 'Twas that self-same weight which drove many of our people to serve our oppressors, misguided as it was. Though they chose a different, unconscionable path, in the end we all wanted the same thing, to deliver our families from persecution, that they may live to see one more day, because another day in shame and self-hatred was still better than none at all. The regretful dead are survived by their despair, a despair which threatens to drag us all into an abyss from which there is no escape. Know that it is surely will if we will welcome it into our hearts out of disdain for those we cannot forgive. But we all Amigans will not be so easily defeated. We will stand united and conquer this menace. Yeah, the one guy's like, whatever. Yeah, it's your time to shine, Arvald. Every All-Amigan who fought and died did so in the hopes that one day we would be free. And we are free. We are free. By the blood of our fallen brothers and sisters, we are free. Free to lock away the pain and pretend it has no power over us until it festers and takes us in our beds. And free to lay it bare and let it breathe. To acknowledge and to mourn our people at their best and their worst. The past is ours to bear, all of it, for ourselves and for future generations, so that they needn't suffer like we did. Let us make All Amigo a nation where no man is left behind, where he can make all the wrong choices and still be afforded the chance to make a right one. Yeah, is that enough to sway you? And what about you there, Starkwoad? Yeah, we're seeing a man grow before our eyes. And I couldn't be happier for him. So as though people who came here take that food for thought.
Yeah, we'll see how it unfolds further. Let's go ahead and speak with Reborn. That went better than any of us could have hoped for. You have my gratitude for your part in the proceedings, but we both know who the real hero of the day was. This was all Endwalker's idea, and it was his words that finally won over the naysayers. Now that we have the community leaders on our side, we should have a much easier time convincing the rest of the citizenry. Well, let's hope you're right about that. Of course, holding the ceremony is by no means our final objective. No matter what we say, someone will refuse to attend. It is my hope, however, that it will still serve to provide a measure of closure for us all, and to ease the plight of the vulnerable and ostracized. Speaking of which, you recall the incident with Fordola and Alagona. The young girl she saved and her mother wished to thank her personally. Considering what happened last time, though, I have reservations. Yeah, what if the mother tries to get revenge? It would be a valuable opportunity to present our former school in a more positive light. On the other hand, I don't need to tell you how unpredictable she can be, and that's before taking her echo into consideration. But that's a conversation for another day. Go and get some rest, you've earned it. Thank you, General. So we'll take our experience in 1,000 gil. And we will reunite again in a moment. Alright, it's time for us to continue on. Let's go ahead and speak with the Blasphemy Hunter again to take on the level 89 healer job quest entitled Trail of Skulls. The Blasphemy Hunter may seem calm and collected from a distance, but you suspect something is amiss.
Something terrible has happened!
Yep. The Blasphemy finally showed up again?
It's Fordola! She's escaped!
I wasn't even aware that she was still being forced to live in the jail cell.
She was accompanying a squadron out on a training exercise. One moment she was there, the next she was gone. I didn't think much of it at the time, but she's been acting strangely ever since she went to meet that mother and child. You know, the ones who wanted to save her, thank her for saving the girl's life. When I told Commander Aldin about it, he went charging off to Alagana and to ask them if they have any idea where Fordola might be. I thought about going after him, but when I heard you were headed this way, I reckon it might be better to send you in my stead. Godspeed, Rika.
Yeah, we got an emergency situation on our hands. Who will turn next? Looks like we're going, oh, not in the water, but over here. Well, we found the two people, and Ehrenwald is here too. We found the girl and her mother. As we arrive on scene. Rika, I wasn't expecting to see you here. You've heard what's happened then? We have. Just as Fordola was beginning to earn our trust, she's given us the slip. As you may know, she wears a choker that is designed to do exactly that if that's enchantment is triggered. It's supposed to prevent her from escaping. Unless she finally found a way to remove it. If I were to give the order, she would be dead within moments. And she knows that. She took the risk anyway, so I have to believe that she has a good reason. That's what we're looking into now. We're hoping Clarel and young Lily here could shed some light on the matter. Now, we finally get to know who these two are. Yeah, so that's what happened.
We'd like to ask about your conversation with Fordola, if we may. Yes, of course. I know she's the butcher, or was at least, but it did seem right to go without thanking her. That's why I requested the meeting, to express my gratitude and my apologies. She was anxious at first, just stood there as we spoke, as if she weren't even listening.
Ah, crap. I accidentally banged the cancel button.
And then I mentioned the blasphemy, and she looked at Lily, and all of a sudden clutched her own head and cried out in agony.
Ah, another echo. Yeah, we know what she's getting at. Uh-huh.
Can you remember what you were thinking about at the time? A man. The one I saw in the city. What? Who? Did he have something to do with all those people panicking?
Oh, is she a witness also? Yeah, let's flashback. And there she is.
I think he did. When I was waiting for you, I saw him. He was by himself.
And then...
He looked poorly, so I asked if he was alright and he said yes. He had a nice smile.
But then as he walks off...
He got up and started walking, but then
all hell broke loose.
he was shouting and screaming. I was so frightened. I didn't want to talk about it, not even to Mum. I wish you had said something sooner. I'm sorry, Poppet. This is my fault for leaving you on your own.
Like, yeah, don't think of it that way. The man who turned into a blossomy, I wager. The girl saw him, which means Fordola has now seen him too. But you can't exactly identify him by what he was.
There was one other thing. When Fordola was having a funny turn, she said something. Charlie? No, Charlotte, I think. Yes, that was it.
Ring any bells?
Can't say it does, but if he has anything to do with the skulls, the Silver Griffins should have some information on him.
We best have a word with Ragnfrid then. Yes, we must. You both been very helpful. I also like to thank you for being so kind to Fordola. She may not have said it, but I'm sure it meant a lot to her. Glad we can help.
I have a couple more things I'd like to ask, so I'll catch up with you later.
And so away goes Reborn, and we shall follow him. More conversations with Ragnfrid then. So a quick little run over here. Charlotte, you say? Yes, that name came up during our recent investigations. You see, mulls it over. As I recall, he served under the Viceroy during the occupation, and his whereabouts is currently unknown. Had an older brother named Ansfrid, one of the Crani Lupi, which would give him a connection to Fordola. Is there anyone who can tell us more about him? Yes, an uncle. We who recently helped find employment here in Arlagona. He's actually the one who asked us to look for Charlotte. You'll most likely find him working at the Sleeping Stones. As it happens, I was planning to bring him something to eat. I'll join you there shortly. So up and over the tree, and we'll get on over down to the far end of the Sleeping Stones to see what Reborn is trying to find. Also, you should have asked what he looks like. Yeah. You know, we're throwing ourselves right into danger before we know what we're doing. Hey there, Ragnfrid. Still looking, eh? That's him over there. Oh, he's trying to hack away at the stone here. Yeah, why is he doing that? Maybe he's looking for something that's underneath it? I hope we're not interrupting. Hello there. No, of course not. It's good to see you, Ragnfrid. Hello there. My word, the Bull of Alamigo and the Champion of the Alliance. What brings such esteemed guests to our humble, quarry? At ease, my good fellow. We merely asked to ask you about your nephew. Yeah, that took him back. Charlotte, you found him? No. Maybe we need more info. No luck yet then. If there's anything else you can tell us, more about his childhood, perhaps. Wasn't much of one, I'm afraid. Poor boy's life was ruined long before he had any say in the matter. His parents and I swore allegiance to Goldenwald to secure ourselves and our kin citizenship. For all the good it did us here, living amongst our countrymen who treated us as pariahs. Took its toll on him and his brother, to be spat on as traitors by association. One thing led to another, and Anfritstrid, together with most of his friends, joined the Imperial Army. That's how it started, you know. The Crania Lupi, Gaius' loyal little pups. I thought they were Xenos' loyal little pups. Do you remember the names of these friends? Yes, they had quite the reputation growing up. There was Evelyn, Rudolph, and the angry little girl who grew up to become the butcher herself, Fordola. Yeah, Echo. Charlotte was part of their group too, yes? But from what we've heard, he chose not to become a soldier. Wouldn't have lasted a day in training. He knew that better than anyone, of course. Not that it helped him to feel any less guilty for turning his back on the others. He blamed himself for their deaths, for not stopping them when he had the chance, for not being strong enough to fight by their side. Maybe save them, maybe not, but he wasn't there, and he wished he had been. Then one day, he was gone. Wherever he is, I hope he's safe and well. Yeah, do we break the news? So do we. Thank you. The information you've shared should prove useful. And for you, I've brought some food. Why don't you call it a day and go enjoy it with your family? Yeah, I insist. So yeah, let him have the peace for now. Back to Alagana. Alright then. Oh, Arvald's made it back too. So not only was his brother a member of the Skulls, but Shard himself was a childhood friend of Fordola's. I'm told he refused the support of the Silver Griffins as well. He's been trying to make his own way for some time now, as we see someone in a FWAT suit making their way on out of here. His brother and his friends died at Spicula Imperatoris, save for Fordola, and the gods only know how he felt about her after that. Or how Fordola felt about Charlotte after seeing Lily's memory of him transforming into a blasphemy. Brother of a man she killed, and a childhood friend besides. She thinks she's responsible for this. That's why she ran, to kill the beast. I never thought I'd say this, but I'm worried about her. Fordola is a survivor and an outcast herself. Exactly the sort of person the Silver Griffins are trying to support. You've seen for yourself the sacrifices she's willing to make, and if you can learn to feel sympathy for her, maybe others can too. And so, I think we have enough information for the time being. Let's return to the city and plan our next move. Alright then. Back to the quarter. Come back to Reborn and the Hunter. I've assigned a few of my soldiers to assist the Silver Griffins in investigating Charlotte's background. With luck, we'll find him quickly, and then we can prepare for what must come after. We're all but certain Charlotte's the one who transformed into a blasphemy, and so there's naught to be done but put him out of his misery. As for Fordola, I put Monargo and her troops in charge of tracking her. Once they've found her, they have my permission to lend whatever support they deem necessary. If it comes to it, I may ask you to join the search. Until such time, I ask that you take this opportunity to rest. Very well there, Raban. So take the experience that we don't need as well as 1,000 gil. Plus, for a healer, we have some salted Thavnarian cod. Yeah, don't go too far there, General. We still have more things to do, especially as I need to thin out my inventory a bit because it's getting pretty damn full.